Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Kelly Francisco. I'm a vendor business manager here on the modern security team here at D&H. And I want to thank you for joining us for our SonicWall webinar on protecting the protectors with SonicSentry. We're going to mix things up a little bit and start out with a couple of questions for you, our audience, before I introduce our host. And our first poll question is already up. So if you guys have a second and want to click yes or no, whether or not you provide managed services to your clients today, that'd be great. And I know it's easy sometimes to sit back and watch rather than take part, but we're all about incentivizing positive engagement. So we're going to be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card at the end of this webinar for the person who has the most poll interactions. If all of you guys are eager beavers and want to click away, then we'll do a lottery at the end and follow up with whoever wins that. Let's see. Give you guys a couple seconds. That counter is going up. 56% of you guys have responded. Who wants the $25 gift card? All right, at least somebody laughed. And also, just so you guys know, we are going to be actually giving away 5 other $25 gift cards, but you're going to have to wait till the end of the webinar to find out how to win one of those. So let's see. We'll go ahead and move on to we're going to have a second poll question. Here's our results. 75, that's a great number. 75% of you, of the audience today, currently provides managed services to your clients. And our next poll question, are you managing and responding to critical security alerts in real time? That means 24/7, 365 days a year. I'd love to hear that, because if so, or if not, regardless of your answer, this is going to be the service that you are interested in hearing about. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds or a couple to yes or no. Let's see. How are you guys doing? 42. You guys are fast. I love it. I love the interaction.
Everyone's wide awake today.
I'm telling you, positive reinforcement is where it's at. All right, let's take a look at our results. About half, just a little bit more than half and half of you guys are. So, and like I said, no matter where you're at, our speaker is going to be giving you information on a service that can really help your managed service provider, or even if you're not an MSP right now. So I want to take a minute to introduce Brian Holloman, lead account channel manager for managed security services at SonicWall, today to talk about SonicSentry, which is their managed XDR, I might say device agnostic managed XDR service. We'll be taking questions today throughout the webcast. You can add them to the Q&A box at any time, and if they're pertinent to the discussion that's going on right then, we'll answer them right then and there. Or if not, we can circle back at the end during our formal Q&A and look at those questions, get them answered. And as I mentioned, we'll be giving away 5 other gift cards, but you have to stay to the end of the webinar to learn more about that. So Brian, I will let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That was awesome. Awesome job. So I am Brian Holloman, formerly part of a team called Solutions Granted. We were acquired by SonicWall prior to my Solutions Granted days and SonicWall days, military Air Force veteran, and rolled that into a multi-decade career in satellite communications. So thank you all for attending. Let's get into it. SonicSentry, MXDR. What is SonicSentry? As I already alluded to, SonicSentry was a private company, if you will. Again, Solutions Granted being a master managed security service provider. We went out, essentially when we built this business, we established vendor relationships with known tools within the industry. So such as SentinelOne, Avanan from an email perspective, Stellar for a SIEM perspective, CrowdStrike, Cylance, and many others. So what we did, basically took their licensing and took their technology, and then we added our people and our processes. So with that, SonicSentry as a whole It's much more than just an MXDR, but that's the main focus of today's webinar webcast, is to highlight the MXDR. So when I say MXDR, that's Managed Extended Detection and Response. So we're talking endpoints, we're talking cloud, and we're talking perimeter. One of our mottos, or our motto, we protect the protectors. So we're here to not only work with you as MSPs, but then we're here also, obviously, to be the team behind the scenes protecting your clients, because we realize that when you're running a business, and it may not, yes, you may be deploying security services, security tools, but your primary focus may be more on the IT side of the house, or other services. So allow us to work with you and take care of that security side. That's all we focus on. So from our days as an independent company and our days now under SonicWall as SonicSentry, we've seen this. 76% of these attacks occur outside of normal business hours. So makes sense, right? 8 to 5. Those bad guys probably have jobs too. And so when they're doing the nefarious stuff, they're working on off hours. So, and primarily we're seeing between 3 and 6 a.m. is when most of these critical events occur. So something interesting to think about, especially the whole point here is that we are here 24/7, 365. You all, you need to sleep at some point. So when you're not Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 or however long, I know some of your days probably get pretty long, we're there around the clock to work with you in tandem to protect your clients. Any of these things look familiar for you all? Having challenges with time to respond. Again, a lot of the bad things are happening after hours. Your days are busy trying to keep up with the day's activities and planning how you take care of your clients from the IT perspective. We are here 24/7, 365. Alert fatigue, the number of alerts and events that come through all these security tools, it's not manageable by a single person or a human. That's where a lot of our services, we're adding a SIEM, right? Allow these tools to do the work for you, but also allow our people that are experts in the security field, we are behind that SIEM and working with you to protect your clients. And it's kind of all rolls into cyber experts. That's all we do. You take care of your IT side, you take care of your clients, allow us to be that security team that works in tandem with you. We're the team behind the scenes, if you will, an extension of your team. Okay, let's focus. This slide's more focusing on the endpoint. So SonicSentry MDR, Managed Detection and Response, key benefits. I know I've repeated, it's going to be repeated many times. It's 24/7 monitoring. When you're sleeping and when your clients are asleep, we're there always to be in support of your protecting your endpoints. So that's done in a few ways, but primarily our people, our Security Operations Center located just south of Washington, D.C. That's our primary SOC location. How else are we helping you with the benefits of this MDR offering? Something unique. We do 2 times a month. We're basically grading your configuration, A, B, C, or F. That's a direct correlation with how you've deployed the agents, whether it's SentinelOne, CrowdStrike, Cylance, or many others that we support. There are features within those agents that need to be deployed that we need in place to be considered best practices implementation. Something else you might see that would give you a little bit of a negative mark on your report would be something like, say you deploy 100 endpoints, 50 of them appear to be active, 50 are inactive. Obviously, if they're deployed and they're taking up space in your portal, they should be activated. Not only that, if they are appearing in your portal, then they're billable. So if you have anything that's supposed to be disabled, then it should be outside of your portal. It should be taken out of your portals. Reduce alert fatigue. Today, you may run a tight ship and not sure. MSPs have many varying levels of resources. Take that burden or that onus of having to not only do the daily with the IT needs of your MSP, take that security alert off of you and allow us to do that and take that since we are the experts. And again, wanting to be an extension of your team.
Brian, I'm going to pause you really quick before
Sure.
you get into this next slide. You mentioned that your SOC team is based in DC. Are they all US folks is that outsourced at all?
Yeah,
I know that's important to our MSPs.
No, great question. And yes, it's 100% the US-based, US employees, no contracted employees. And just to follow on that, we are, as a company, we're NIST 800-171 compliant. Thank you for that question. Good question. Mitigation versus remediation. It's interesting when you're in this space, we throw around these different words and acronyms. This one's pretty clear. We're here to mitigate, right? We are here to detect, respond, isolate, and contain. So specifically speaking to an endpoint, if we see a critical event, ideally, the tools themselves can have the capability of doing this containment and isolation. But the whole point that there is no one single tool that does it all. So we want to make sure that our team, again, through the SIEM, all those events coming into our SIEM, also letting us know when something critical happens, and then our SOC team behind that SIEM to respond. So when we see a critical event, rest assured that our team is going to be there to detect on it and then respond and do what's necessary, isolate and contain if the criticality of that event deems it necessary. Remediation. We will support you through remediation and we guide you through remediation. When we detect a critical event, our team is calling you every 15 minutes within that first detection, and then every hour following until we make contact with your emergency contact representative from your team. And once we reach that person, then we're going to let them know, here's what we found, here's what we did, and here are the step-by-step actions to take to remediate. If you and your team are capable of running that and you look through the steps and like, yeah, that's exactly what we would have done, then you contact your client when you're ready to do so. If you prefer to have us on the phone to help you remediate and you bring your client on the phone, we'll be there to support you through that as well. Okay, how this whole endpoint works or how it works working with us with the SonicSentry. And you can see on this slide, it shows specifically that first block, if you will. This is more a partner responsibility. How are you preparing? So preparing meaning deploying those, managing your portal and deploying those agents, the respective agents for the endpoint. That is the partner's responsibility. Now, of course, if you're having issues with that or you're running into problems deploying, then of course we're here to support you. We are not only your security team, but we're your training team and your technical team. So consolidating all those relationships, right, all those vendor tools, putting them under one point of contact, which would be us. So then our role, once you deploy those agents properly, our team is there to detect and mitigate and investigate, and then of course guide you through that remediation that I mentioned earlier. So again, the agents themselves being capable of detecting, responding, potentially isolating and containing, but we are that layered process through the SIEM, and then our SOC team, our technical, our security people behind the scenes, we're there to make sure that these endpoints and anything that's of criticality, that we're doing what we need to do to isolate and contain those. And then of course, contacting you, as I mentioned, every 15 minutes within the first hour, and then every hour following until we've reached your emergency contact. So then we can convey to you, this is what we found, this is what we did, and here are the step-by-step actions to take to remediate and bring those sites back into the network healthy. What we're looking at here, just varying alerts, the critical alert being the major, obviously, or the most important in the sense that when we see something critical, this is stopping a nefarious activity from possibly taking out one or more of your sites and crypto locking or other horrible things that we don't want to happen. So when we see that critical alert, again, we're calling you every 15 minutes within the first hour and then every hour following. Alerts that come through major or minor, we will not be calling you, but we will be opening a ticket and sending you an email to alert you to what that incident or that event was or is. And then if you have questions, you could always respond to the ticket or give us a call, and we'll help you make recommendations on how you can handle that alert. But the big one obviously is the critical, and that that we've stopped that threat, and we do what we need to do to contain and isolate that endpoint.
Brian, I just had a question that just came in from James. How are you isolating an infected system in real time when it happens at 2 a.m. with no one on site? Do you put the system in a sandbox to stop communication and infect other systems?
Yeah, so depending on which AV EDR combination, the EDR portions, if you will, of these tools have the ability to allow us to keep command and control, however, take them out of the network. So not being on the technical side, I can't go into too much detail on how they do that, but typically these tools do have that capability, and we have the means to, if the tool hasn't done it, then we can access and do what we need to do to, again, keep the ability or the visibility to have command and control of the site, but take it out of the network so it doesn't have the ability to spread further or go to other sites within your network.
And James, what I would say is after this is all over, if you want to set up a call, we can set up a more technical call to get into the ins and outs of how all that stuff works. There's also a question from Rodney, and I'll take this one. Is SonicWall available through the D&H marketplace? You want to order it through D&H. We're actually the exclusive dealer of this right now, the distributor of this product right now. It's not available via the marketplace, but we'll share details on how you can get it by the end of this webinar.
Very cool. So here's an example of an alert. Essentially, what are we doing? Right, we're detecting, we're responding, and we're going to guide on what needs to be done. So essentially, that's what you're seeing here. We don't go into how we're going to remediate, but it does show you, what device or what host is being impacted, what was the issue detected, and this is what you can expect from a sample alert, or when we detect an event. This is what you can get through. This is what you will get through email. And again, I just want to stress that if it's critical, we're not just relying on email. We're taking action. We're making sure that it's isolated, that it's contained. Right? We're doing all this before we call you, and it is at that pace, that cadence of every 15 minutes within the first hour, and then every hour following until we reach you. Okay, getting a little bit ahead here, but just to highlight, this is very easy. When SonicWall Solutions Granted by itself, this is the way it's in our culture, right? We wanted to make this easy. We understand MSPs are all varying sizes, and if you're starting out of the box, everyone started somewhere, right? You don't have likely you don't have thousands of endpoints day one, and it'd be quite a burden if you had to, oh hey, take this service, buy this contract for 2-3 years, 1 year, whatever it may be, and give me a minimum. No, you're trying to grow your business, so we've always been very conscious of that. And we're here to help. So literally, if you want to do business with SonicSentry, it takes one. That's the minimum. So no annual commits, no minimums. All right. I'll give a little more time if there are any questions. This slide is, I was talking to Kelly before, literally we could probably do the whole presentation with this slide alone. This is going to put all 3 of the primary services that we're offering, from endpoint, MDR, cloud services, and then perimeter. So if we don't have any questions and we think we're all on the same track, let's get into it, because this is really the meat, if you will.
Brian, before you get into that, there's a question. Nalit, there's a couple questions you have that we'll get to in a little bit, but John had a question. Do you monitor SonicWall logs also and respond to threats?
Yeah, so when you say SonicWall logs, there's a couple, it's syslogs. So for perimeter, and we'll get into that on the last part of this slide, but the prerequisite to monitor SonicWall devices, or any device, any vendor device, does that device generate syslogs? And if it does, then we can do it. Now, whether or not we have a parser built, that would be the question. But any the main or the most well-known vendors today. So from a Palo Alto, Fortinet, WatchGuard, Ubiquity, whoever it may be, and of course SonicWall APs, SonicWall firewalls. Yes, those generate syslogs, so we can pull those into our SIEM, and then we can respond accordingly. If you're talking about events that are generated, up, down, port status, or IP addresses aggressively trying to, you see known bad countries, trying to attack your firewall. Those will be reported, but not in the SIEM SOC service. So strictly syslogs from the MDR for network. But a managed firewall, we will alert you for those, if a firewall is up or down, or port status, things of that nature. I hope that answers your question. If not, we can always circle back. So with that, I will move to the endpoint. So starting for the endpoint, MDR for endpoint, as Kelly mentioned, and we've talked about it a little bit, we're somewhat agnostic. So yes, we are SonicWall, but we are incorporating endpoint services licenses from CrowdStrike, which is an AV EDR combination. It's actually their MSSP Defend license. That's what we're working with CrowdStrike. SentinelOne, AV EDR combination, which is SentinelOne Complete. SentinelOne has core, control, and complete. We're working with complete only. And then Cylance, we were very large Cylance and still have a very large footprint with Cylance Protect. We can work with Sophos, Defender for Endpoint, and of course Capture Client, which at the core is SentinelOne Complete, but then putting the SonicWall wrapper and adding content filtering. So many options on the endpoint. Okay, that's great. We just talked about those are licenses. Well, what else are we doing? So in this endpoint MDR offering, it's not just the license, right? You're procuring the license through D&H. It includes the SIEM, at Stellar Cyber SIEM. It includes our 24/7 US-based and employed SOC team. It includes the twice-a-month audits, where we're grading you A, B, C, or F, again, on your deployment. And then 1-year log retention. Our team, again, behind that, 24/7 US-based and employed, when we see a critical event, we're calling you every 15 minutes within the first hour, and then every hour following, so we can let you know, this is what we found, here's what we did, and these are the step-by-step actions to take to remediate. So it's all those 5 or 6 features, if you will, or capabilities included. It's not just a license. And again, as I've mentioned, we are going to be your single team here. You don't have to reach out to any of those vendors to get technical support. You work with us. So we're your technical team, we're your training team, and we're your security team. Any questions on endpoint MDR services? If not, let's roll into the cloud. So 2 separate services here. All these services are a-la-carte. We group them together as a SonicSentry MXDR because ideally, from a security perspective, we want to be a unified SOC. So with that in mind, let's move into, again, 2 different services here. We'll start with the cloud email. In today's world, yes, there are some folks that are still on-prem, but for those that are in Google or 365, we have an amazing solution with Avanan. So Avanan is our main and our only third-party email solution that works nicely and ties in well with, again, 365 or Google. When it comes to why would someone want to do that? Well, with most everything today being single-threaded, maybe not the best approach from a security approach. So if you feel 365 email is doing a good job, then great. If you feel like you need something to back that up, then we have that solution. That would be Avanan. So it's an API-based integration. I always refer to Avanan as an elite anti-phishing, smishing, spam filtering capable solution. What makes them amazing is all the extra features that they bring to it as well. So there are different tiers. One of the stronger tiers, I think, is the ability to look into scan files for malware in OneDrive, SharePoint, ShareFile, Citrix File Share, Dropbox, any of the collaborative or file sharing apps that are supported within your 365 or Google environment. Avanan will go in there and scan those files for malware. So not just looking at an email or body of an email or an attachment, it's going into those collaborative and file sharing apps. Additionally, they have two options for outbound encryption and data loss prevention. Again, I'm a big fan of Avanan. You don't just have to trust me. I'm a sales guy. Go do your own research. One of the things from my perspective as a channel account manager and a salesperson, I've seen Avanan just continues to release relevant features. And I want to stress a little more on this outbound email encryption and data loss prevention. There was one way to do it, and that forced you as the MSP to have the higher tiers of licensing. So E3, E5, or business premium. That's costly. What Avanan did about a year or 2 years ago, they came out with their own outbound email encryption and data loss prevention. So it doesn't tie you to having to have the higher tiers, E3, E5, business premium. So today you can roll out outbound email encryption and data loss prevention for your business standard folks. Now, granted, the reality is I think Microsoft does a really good job with their feature sets and kind of forces us all to go to those premium licenses, but understand that if you do have some of those standard licensing or non-premium licensing clients out there, then you can add outbound email encryption and data loss prevention. So very cool on their behalf. Avanan has many more add-ons, and I'll stress there's one called Incident Response as a Service. What this does is take that stress off of you as the MSP when your clients are emailing you, hey, this email got quarantined, I need this now, I know it's good, there's nothing wrong with it, release it. Well, hold on. Enable Incident Response as a Service. This pulls in Avanan SOC, not our SonicSentry SOC, but Avanan Direct, their SOC team will investigate that email. Within 20 to 30 minutes, they'll report back to you on what they found. If it was deemed to be phishing, then obviously it stays quarantined, and they'll give you the write-up as to why it's going to stay quarantined. If it is not phishing after their assessment, then they'll release it on your behalf. So that's a really cool feature, and takes a lot of that burden. It's scary, right? It's a lot of responsibility to have to be that person to say, yes, this is phishing or it's not. So that's one feature, but they also have archiving, they have DMARC, and security awareness training. So all these features are add-ons that you can manage and control under the Avanan portal.
Hey, Brian, there are a couple of questions in the chat. Some of these you may have already gone into, but Ronnie is asking what happens with attachments. And then we also have another question from Nelly. Email for regulated industry, data encryption and storage retention for 5 years. Is it available? Yeah,
so I think the best way to handle those, again, I'm going to pull myself out as the sales guy. And what I'll do is, Kelly, if we can just take note, and if we can get email addresses, we can send out the FAQs. Those questions, okay. It goes into pretty good detail on the capabilities of the archiving and how to handle quarantine. It goes into pretty decent detail. So, and again, if the FAQ doesn't answer your questions fully, then please, you'll have my contact information. You'll have our contact information, so we'll get those answers for you. I always get told I need to stay in my lane, so I want to stay in my lane here. I don't want to speak outside of my complete understanding. So appreciate the understanding there. With that, let's move into a service that we think pairs very nicely. So Avanan, of course, being a very robust, we'll say API-based anti-phishing, smishing, spam filtering capable tool. Of course, it's bigger than that. Let's back that up with a SOC team, okay? And where we do that is through our cloud threat analytics. What we're doing through cloud threat analytics, it's SaaS alerts, by the way. So what we're doing here is looking for critical indicators of compromise, and whether that's, what do we say, impossible time, distance, and travel, or MFA being disabled, or repeated failed logins. With the ability of our SOC team interpreting the alerts that are coming from the cloud threat analytics, we'll be able to make decisions, based on not just the information on the alert, but ideally having historical information, seeing like, okay, looking at your trends and your behaviors. So based on information that we've gathered, we'll make the best decision possible and lock out accounts on your behalf. So not just alerting you to, hey, this critical indicator, we're seeing this critical indicator of compromise, but we'll also lock that account out. Through this cloud threat analytics, excuse me, there's another feature that's included in the cost for this. It's called Fortify. Fortify is essentially an assessment of your 365 deployment. So no matter how long you've been working with 365 and you may be very proficient, what's wrong with having a second set of eyes to make sure that the tenants are being deployed correctly? So through Fortify, when we see your Microsoft security score regress, Fortify will alert you, hey, notice your security score regressed. Here are the actions that you can take, and then also gives you the ability to a push button remediation, if you will, to make those changes within your 365 tenant to get that security score back up to an acceptable level. So I just thought that's a really cool feature in addition to what we're capable of doing within the cloud threat analytics to look for those critical indicators of compromise. What makes SaaS alerts or our cloud threat analytics, I think, somewhat unique? There are others in the industry that will be able to lock out accounts within 365, maybe Google, but some of the solutions out there today, they're really just relegated to 365 only. So not only are we doing 365, we're doing Google, but then we're doing maybe 15 or so other platforms. So as you can see here, we list Slack, Dropbox, Salesforce, but what about your RMM? Ninja, Datto, Enable, Synchro, those are all on the list as well. Duo is on the list. Why is this relevant? Not sure how you manage it today, but what if it's 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and we see it appears like you're trying to log into your RMM, but through our historical information, that's not common. You're logging in Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Why at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, not only are you trying to log in, but it looks like you're repeatedly failing those logins? You might want to know that. It potentially looks like it's your username, but that IP address we've never seen before. So we'll be able to alert you to things like that. And of course, RMM being a very important part, probably of many of your daily interactions with your clients. So definitely need to protect that. Any questions on the cloud threat analytics? All right. The recommendation here, what we're going for, is to create a cloud MDR. So now, if you do take on both of these services, the cloud threat analytics or the cloud email, what we're doing is we're extending our SOC team from the cloud threat analytics, right, where we're locking out your accounts, but now we're going to extend it to your Avanan portal as well. Now, it's completely overlapping, right? Both of these services are tying into 365, but who are we, right? We are a security team. We want data from as many sources as possible. So, it's also possible you deploy many tools today. Why does one pick up an alert before the other? Not relevant necessarily for us. If we want to put our SOC team behind both. So by taking both of these on, we can now also see indicators of compromise, corroborate what are we seeing in Avanan compared to what we're seeing in cloud threat analytics or vice versa. So just giving us more confidence that, okay, this is truly a critical indicator of compromise. We're going to lock out this account. And so you leverage that how you may when it comes to your MSP. This is, again, putting a SOC behind your cloud environment.
Hey, Brian, Lisa in the chat is asking, is there an additional upcharge for Avanan IRAAS?
There is, yeah. Any of those. So incident response as a service is an add-on feature. The way it works, there's 3 tiers, 3 core tiers, and that's going to be your anti-phishing, smishing, and then the next tier would be adding the scanning files for malware and the collaboration and file sharing. And then the third tier would be outbound email encryption and data loss prevention. So those are your 3 core tiers. And then anything, the add-ons would be an additional charge, such as the incident response as a service. That's one charge, then archiving, and then DMARC, and then security awareness training. So all those are add-ons.
And Brian, just to clarify, all of these things you get through SonicWall. You don't have to go to Avanan separately, correct?
Yeah, well, ideally through D&H, right? And then through SonicWall.
Yeah, well, yes. through SonicWall, through D&H.
So we are your one-stop shop. So procurement of these licenses and these features, technical support, and training support, right? Okay, let me move into the perimeter, and we already alluded to a little bit, but I think it's really unique what SonicWall is doing here, right? Through the acquisition of Solutions Granted, now SonicWall, who many may have looked at as a global leader in firewalls and perimeter devices and security services, but through the acquisition, now they're a SIEM SOC solution, and not just for SonicWall. You know, if you go to Sophos, or you go through Fortinet, or you go through Palo, not likely that they're going to help you or provide security support or a SIEM SOC around not their own devices, right? So not likely you could go there and get SonicWall devices protected or put a SIEM and SOC on it. We're doing that. Literally the prerequisite, can you forward syslogs? So it doesn't matter if it's not SonicWall or if it is SonicWall. Ideally it is, but again, if it's Calyptix or Palo Alto, WatchGuard, Ubiquity, pfSense, whoever it may be, if you can forward syslogs, we can do it. We're going to take those logs, pull those into our SIEM, let the SIEM do what it does with its rule sets, and then you have our 24/7 US-based and employed SOC team behind that SIEM to respond accordingly. Unlike the endpoint, perimeter critical alerts are handled a little bit differently in the sense that we're not containing or isolating. We're not going to potentially impact everything that's inside that perimeter device. So this is an alert system. When it's critical, we are going to handle it similarly as we do to the endpoint, in the sense that we are calling you every 15 minutes within the first hour, and then every hour following, in order to try to reach you, to alert you to the critical event that we detected. It's not just firewalls, right? Again, the prerequisite is what? It's, can you forward syslogs? So access points, switches, routers, domain controllers, servers, all of it. We can do all those things. And it's built on a per device cost, right? So it's not a, that's pretty straightforward. It's per device. Things to consider, there's 2 ways to deploy this. Either you deploy through a virtual sensor, which sits, we'll say, if you were drawing a network diagram, you have your device, then you would have the virtual sensor, and then into the cloud where the SIEM resides. That would require you to have spin up a VMware or Hyper-V or something like that, to be that between, that point between that are taking your syslogs and then pushing it into the cloud. That's best case scenario. If you cannot support a virtual machine or Hyper-V, then it would require a physical sensor. And now that physical sensor has to be provided by the SIEM manufacturer. So no, you can't go to eBay, and no, you can't pull in any kind of device and create your own sensor. It needs to be from us, or our vendor, if you will. And that's a cost. So that's something to consider. Ideally, you can spin this up a Hyper-V, and we'll help you, we'll guide you through that. Any questions?
Yeah, I was going to say, Sung, I believe your question was answered. He's asking, can you provide an example of the remediation that MDR for network protection provides? Does the SOC monitoring that alert take any action to isolate the threat? I feel like you've just kind of covered that right here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're right. It's an alert. It's truly an alert system. We're not taking any action because of the potential impact. So it is more of an alert system. If we see something critical, then we're going to call you at that cadence of every 15 minutes from the point of detection and every hour after that until we reach somebody.
And then I know Nalit has a few questions on pricing, MSRP costs, that kind of thing. I know I personally don't have any costs in front of me right now, but definitely happy to share with you after the call. Like, we just follow up with the I can have the team follow up with you at email, unless, Brian, you have anything you want to share there.
No, it's all done through D&H, and I think that's probably the best way. If we can just follow up with the pricing list, it'd probably be a better way to handle it, if that works for everybody.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to pivot. That pretty much, this was the primary goal, was just to open up, expose you all to what SonicSentry is. How did we get here with SonicSentry, MXDR? So just to summarize it, you know, managed extended detection and response. What does that mean? It's endpoint, it's cloud email, it's looking for indicators of compromise within cloud environments, and then it's putting a SOC and a SIEM additionally behind your perimeter. We do more. And so then to follow into that, I'm going to pivot a little bit and say, think back to your favorite infomercial host, you know, was it Billy Blanks or the Sham Wow guy? And so I say, but wait, there's more. There's more that we're doing here at SonicSentry. And this is more on the SonicWall side, but does pull in our SonicSentry team. What we're doing is providing not aware of anyone else is doing this, but a warranty. So whether you're just procuring firewalls from SonicWall, or you combine those firewalls with any of these services that I just mentioned, we're literally giving you a warranty. If something happens, we're going to provide up to $1 million of assistance to help you recover from this incident. So high level, a box, a firewall independent of itself, Gen 7, starting November 2024 and forward, Gen 7 or above boxes, they come with this $100,000 warranty. What's the prerequisite? The prerequisite is that you're onboarded to SonicWall's service provider program, you've registered that box, and you've configured that box. To apply to the warranty, there is a sheet and there's a sign up, and that the prerequisites within there, or the recommended configuration guidance will be in there as well. So if you configure this box to best practices recommendations, are deploying updates when in a timely manner, and again, our SonicWall partner, that specific box could apply for a $100,000 warranty if there was some event that occurred and your client suffered some losses. So at high level, that's what this is, a warranty program on your SonicWall services and devices, or a firewall. Here's a little more granularity into that, and where I mentioned that it can be as high as $1 million. If you look at this graph, if you will, or this these columns here, we've got firewall is the first one. That's what I just mentioned. So firewall independent, configured correctly, part of you've onboarded for the service provider program, you've followed in the SciAssurance sign up and followed the recommended configuration, that box is up for a $100,000 warranty. If you sign up for a new service called MPSS, Managed Protection Security Suite, now you're looking at a $200,000 warranty for that same box. What this does is it pulls in our SonicSentry team to basically audit, if you will, or provide firewall health checks twice a month, I believe, verifying or validating your configuration does meet that best practices deployment. And yeah, you have our team here to push updates for you, right? So taking that burden off of you. When a critical update is released, we're going to give you about 24, 48 hours, I believe. We'll have to fact check me on that. And if you haven't deployed that, or we haven't coordinated with you when you want that update to be pushed. We're going to do it with or without you because it's critical. Now, any non-critical update, again, there's no time limit. Now, of course, sooner the better, but we are not just going out and pushing these updates without your coordination. So, of course, we want to make sure that we schedule that with you. By adding some of these services that we just reviewed, as in the endpoint MDR or cloud threat analytics or the SIEM SOC on the perimeter, you can see that adding those services, then you can get all the way up to the $1 million warranty if a site has been configured correctly and has met all the prerequisites for the services that are being deployed. Okay, to get started, again, this is a collaboration. As Kelly mentioned, D&H has exclusive rights. Of course, you know, still people come direct to SonicWall, but today it's new, and we've probably been at this, since March or April or so this year. D&H has exclusive rights to the SonicSentry services. So here are two of the main contacts, Josh and Spencer. Please reach out to them, and they'll get you started with all the prerequisites. And of course, I'm here in the back to help them, anything from the SonicWall side, but they're your D&H reps. Something we haven't touched on, okay, well, how do we look at this stuff? You're not just going to buy it and say it works. No, well, we encourage proof of concepts. So it varies. The endpoint would be a 21-day proof of concept. Cloud email, cloud threat analytics, and MDR for network, those would all be 14-day proof of concepts. Again, reach out to your D&H reps, and they'll guide you through the process and how to get started with those proof of concepts. Essentially, ideally, you're going to move into production, but this gives you time to get to know the technical teams here at SonicSentry, take their guidance, build that rapport, allow them to train you on these services, and give you all the documentation you need to help you be successful in your deployment, getting you prepared for your promoting this to your clients. As I mentioned, we're here to be that one-stop shop, a technical team, a training team, and a security team. There are no limits to how often. So where I'm going with this is that training isn't a one-time thing. It's not uncommon for partners to come back and say, you know, hey, it's just been a while since I've really granularly gone over my portal. Can you guys do a once-over and make sure that we're doing things right? Yeah, sure, no problem. Open a ticket or reach out to me or our teams. And we have a pretty decent team here that we're building at SonicSentry from a channel account management and sales side. Reach out to us and we'll help link you with that technical team and get your account a link, so then you can schedule a training or a review of a portal, just to give you more confidence that things are being done correctly. So, and then Kelly, do you want to just, this is a D&H address, right? Do you want to pick
Yeah,
this up?
absolutely. So I know we don't always remember everyone's individual addresses. So we have this really super simple SonicWallSales@dnh.com is where we're going to want you to reach out. And I know there's a few questions in there in the queue, so I'll get to those in just a second. But I did tell you at the beginning of the webinar that we'd be giving away an additional five $25 Amazon gift cards, if I'm getting that right. And that is going to be for the first 5 partners that reach out to that SonicWallSales@dnh.com. I know you guys have a lot of questions specifically around pricing. I've seen quite a few questions about that, and that's a great. The list is long of the options, so it's not just that, oh, it's $5 and you're done. So that's why you want to follow up with that directly. There is one last poll question. Are you interested in learning more about SonicWall SonicSentry Services via D&H? As we've discussed, this is exclusive through D&H right now. Sung, I know you're asking, is there going to be a more technical webinar to cover more on SonicSentry? That's definitely something that we can explore. I would say that, as Brian mentioned, not only is the SonicSentry team super involved in all of this and happy to do technical trainings. Our own team, this has been my favorite part of watching this launch through D&H, is that we've always had a white glove approach as far as your ability to reach out to our subject matter experts, and so does SonicSentry under SonicWall. And it's been really cool because some of the first partners to be signed on for this are not your traditional MSSPs. They are folks that maybe they're an MSP, maybe they're not even an MSP. And between our two teams, we kind of handhold you through the process. And I think that's a big differentiator. So yes, more to come on whether or not there'll be a technical webinar, but for sure you can get with our teams and schedule some technical training on that. Brian, there are a couple of questions in there. What is from Lisa, what is the possible roadmap to move towards zero trust? I don't know if that's a little bit more technical than we're ready to get into right now.
Yeah. No, it's funny. So putting these slides together, I'm like, well, what do we go into? And the primary focus was to just discuss extended detection response SonicSentry. So SonicWall does have another acquisition, and it's called Banyan, and they are, we've rebranded, if you will, Cloud Secure Edge. So if we can get, I didn't cover a lot of it here, but it is our approach to zero trust. So if I can just get the contact information, then we can, or your team, Kelly, D&H can guide them to information on the Cloud Secure Edge and what it takes to deploy that or even trial it.
Awesome. And then do we have a recycling program from Rodney?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
That's something I think we both have to look into. I'm actually,
yeah.
I don't know that SonicWall does, and I don't know that D&H does either, but we will follow up on that and get back to you, Rodney, on that.
Yeah.
And then another question, CrowdStrike. They're not seeing that anywhere.
Okay. We support it. So yeah, so not sure where we're going, but it's.
I think it's whether or not you support it.
Was it so there is a license called, it's interesting. So if you go to a CrowdStrike website, I'm not sure how it's going to be labeled. I have a data sheet that we can send that basically breaks down. There's a table that shows different licensing levels. And if they're asking about the specific CrowdStrike license, it's called MSSP Defend. It's the highest tier without their team behind it. So what we're doing with CrowdStrike, again, MSSP Defend is the license that we're providing, but then there's a couple add-ons that we're supporting there as well. So the capability of external device control, the way CrowdStrike works, it's not all inclusive. Hey, here's a license that does everything. You can pick and choose to add on other features. And so with us, it's the MSSP Defend plus external device control plus Windows firewall management. So that's what we're doing. That's the type of licensing. And then to round out, to compare it to what CrowdStrike Direct is doing, where they may be putting their SOC team behind it, we're putting our SOC team behind it, right? So we become that single point of contact. Again, we're your technical team, we're your training team on CrowdStrike, and we're your security team on CrowdStrike with our CrowdStrike MDR offering. I hope that answers the question, but if we need to, you all, D&H does have access to the data sheets, and there is a data sheet that's out there to show a table that shows the licensing and what we're doing.
So I know earlier on in the presentation, there was a few questions about what if we're already existing SonicWall provider? Can we provide this service? Does this require deal registration? That kind of stuff. So I'll start by saying, in order to sell this, you need to be a D&H partner, which I'm assuming you all are, and you need to be not only a SonicWall partner, but, and I'm going to get this wrong, is it SPP? You have to be signed up for the SPP program?
Yeah, that's a SonicWall made it program. So yeah, service provider program.
So, and with those two, once you have those two things, then you are good to go and you can offer the full catalog. So how do they know if they're currently signed up for the SPP? Oh, you'll also have to have D&H as your assigned distributor.
Yes, you got it. You can always procure direct, but if your preferred choice is distribution, D&H would be your preferred provider. And enroll for the service provider program, and now you're free to transact through D&H to get these SonicSentry services.
Awesome. Let's see. SPP program sign up. How do we do that? So, Nalit, we can send you. It's a very simple link, and then our team will just get you signed up with it through that link. So we'll send you an email after the fact.
Kelly, and I think the question prior, how do they know? Then you all, we together, we should be able to, we can find that. So we just need to know the business or the contact name, and then we should be able to search our database to see whether or not someone is or is not enrolled in the service provider program. So we can help with that. Yeah.
So Nalit, I'll make a note to reach back out to you. Either Spencer or Josh can reach out to you directly, and we'll get your questions answered. It's a super simple. If you're already a SonicWall partner and you're already a D&H partner, it's like one little, I think it's an online setup, like super simple.
It's pretty straightforward. There's a whole team that will help guide them through that.
All right, awesome, Lisa. Yeah, and again, guys, remember, let's get those gift cards in your hands. So SonicWallSales@dndh.com. If you shoot an email over there, it'll get to the entire team over here. And again, the first 5 folks will get that $25 Amazon gift card. But we also have all your contact information, can follow up with you directly. Anything else? Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. And we look forward to helping your business grow.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Brian.
All right.